Kill those fans. We are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on the 3. Dadgummit, today is Sunday, February the 2nd, 2225 is how I like to do it. I'm a very unique individual. February 2nd, 2025. We've got a great show for you tonight. We got some calls set up, some really interesting questions to talk about, some recruiting, some football, some basketball, whatever you want to talk about. We want to talk about what y'all want us to talk about. Give us a call on the phone line, 701-779-9585. We, as in Mr. Cole Pinkston and Sir Alan Head, how about you?
How about you?
How about you, buddy? How y'all doing tonight, man?
We will do our best to get to you.
Doing
Hey,
great.
fantastic. I am 24 hours removed from old Brooksy getting his first buck.
Heck
Yes. Look at that.
Slayer. Got him a 10-pointer, man.
Tell me that ain't a little Jeffrey Lee right there, too.
Is that him?
Oh, you know it
Goodness
is.
gracious.
Is it really?
That is a nice deer, too, man.
Yeah, that's his first one.
Absolutely.
He's fired up, man. He's fired up.
I bet he was.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been out there all winter, man. So
It was good times. Good times. So, all right. This what has been going on this week, fellas? What is going on? Auburn beat Ole Miss handily
yes,
in the end.
in the end, I mean, at times it was tight. They also had a nice win against LSU.
Yeah.
Had a couple prospects on campus. Caden Prothrow, obviously
right.
probably the most notable. And then realistically, it's just kind of follow up from a massive junior day. You guys have been getting news out as you get it, and it's been very interesting to read early projections. Guys like Jay Lamar, I wouldn't say you project him, but good early feedback there, along with a couple of other candidates. And then you're seeing some of these guys go other places. So it's an interesting time of the year for Auburn to kind of figure out where they're going to be and who they're going to be able to wrap their arms around. But basketball is probably the big one, right? I mean, watching them beat LSU the way that they did, I mean, that one was handily, right? From start to finish, outside of about 2 minutes when LSU cut it to 5, that was Auburn all the way, minus some of the early time there. But the Ole Miss one was impressive to go on the road in that environment against a coach in Chris Beard, who I think is probably a top 5 coach in all of college basketball right now. I mean, I think he's that good. Ole Miss has assembled a pretty good roster. They're not in Auburn's league just yet, but they're significantly improved from last year. But that place was on fire, and I don't care if you just look at the road splits this year amongst teams in the SEC and how they perform on the road by comparison to how they play at home. It's night and day. I mean, just look at Florida going to Tennessee, getting beat by 20, and they absolutely drummed Tennessee in their house by, I think, 30. So big swings there. But Auburn, the most consistent team in the SEC right now, continuing on undefeated in SEC play, which was, I mean, I can't say enough about what Bruce has done this year. It's been truly amazing to watch so far.
Alan, how far off of their peak are they? I mean, I don't think they're there. I still think that they have more potential, right?
They're in a dip to me right now. And I think it's because, and Bruce said it earlier, but teams have adjusted now. There's enough information out there on what you're trying to accomplish offensively that everybody's starting to and coaches are familiar with each other. They've seen enough on tape right now. So it's the adjustment season. And so what Bruce is going to want to do is I think to a degree he wants to get exposed. I don't think you ever want to lose.
Yeah.
But you want to be in these tough situations so that your team gets a better feel for what do I need to correct, because you want to peak as you're getting into March. Right. If you're going to take a dip, now's the time to do it. Do it early February, maybe have a loss or two. Of course, the corner would be on fire if that happens. We're supposed to win every game, but
it's going to happen. It doesn't need to happen, like you said, but it wouldn't hurt.
Look, this week you've got Oklahoma at home, which I think is a quad 2 game. You've got Florida coming into Neville, which will be a really big game for Bruce. You're talking about two staffs that know each other. Those two staffs know each other extremely well. And Florida's an excellent basketball team. Notwithstanding, obviously, the 20-point loss to Tennessee, they've been as good as anybody. and we're getting projections as late as this Friday to be a number 1 seed in the tournament. Now, everything's early, right?
Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. They just dropped one to Tennessee, but they're still strong.
Absolutely. Not like the number 1 seed, but a number 1 of the 4 number ones, probably the fourth one, but getting some projections by certain sites as such. But Ty Golden's done a great job there. And then look, you got to go on the road to Tuscaloosa. And while the airplane hangar may not fill up for anybody else, you can bank on it. It will be completely full for Auburn. Who knows if they'll break out their FBI jackets from a couple of years ago, but maybe they'll investigate their own players this time. Who knows?
Going in against arguably the best coach in the SEC, Nate Oates.
Oh, you trying to get them fired up tonight.
There's already a thread on it, Jeffrey. Already, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Bruce Goat Pearl is probably just pissed off somewhere, guaranteed.
I can't believe I had to argue with somebody about that. Golly.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I guess I should. But these cats act like they know basketball, and they couldn't even admit that. I was embarrassed for them. All right. We did. I think a couple of big news. You mentioned Caden Protho, the number 2 tight end, visiting Auburn on Saturday. I thought a couple of more big news. Cole reported Jay Lamar, arguably Auburn's top running back target in the 2026 class, has set an official visit. Jared Curtis, arguably the top quarterback on the board, 5-star guy from Tennessee, has set an official visit. Both of those guys in mid-May. May 16th through the 18th is going to be a big weekend, RC at least is starting out. So some recruiting news kind of trickling in. Hezekiah Harris went to Florida. I think Rodney Cleveland went to Florida this past weekend. Those are going to happen. Visits are going to happen. Yeah. You just hope that you can get them to Auburn as many times, if not more, than other places.
It was a quick return to Gainesville for Rodney Cleveland. So that's interesting. I think he was there like 2 weeks ago, maybe. So 2 quick trips over there. That's something to monitor always, right?
Sure. Now, for those that are paying attention to Coach and Scoop news, I think Gerald Chapman, I think that's his name, has been mentioned with the Chicago Bears for their defensive line coaching position. So something to monitor on Auburn's part. And if you're an Auburn fan or on their Auburn coaching staff, you probably would prefer him to go ahead and pull that trigger and end up in Chicago. The more reshuffling of their coaching staff you can have, the better you're going to be.
What happened to Ron Roberts? He's still there?
He is. Ron Culture Roberts is there for sure.
Yeah, he was on the road recruiting the other day. I saw a recruit post a picture with him. By the way, was this the time of year that Auburn lost Jeremy Garrett to the NFL?
It is.
Yes.
So this is, you're going to have some of that going on. I don't know if it's going to happen with Auburn, but, for recruiting purposes, it's going to happen with guys that are, locked in with Rodney Cleveland's and C.D. Morgan's. You know what I mean?
No, look, you would be crazy not to want to go to the NFL right now if you're a college coach and you can make that jump.
Should I take a pay cut to go to NFL?
I'm with you. The calendar is ridiculous. There's no break. With the NFL, you have ball and you're coaching extremely hard and you're there late during the season. But when you got off season, man, it's like a regular job. You're in there, you're out by 3:00 every day.
Yeah.
You can spend time with your family. I mean, it's people.
Recruiting's not a thing, really. I mean, to an extent, obviously.
No, you do some evaluation work, but you're not worried about calling kids and talking to their agent and everything else. You have a whole front office staff that handles that.
You get to work on football all day long.
Yes, all day long. It's a dream for a lot of these guys.
Well, let's get to the phone lines, but before we do, if you're in Auburn or Opelika, Lee County, wanting to sell your house, buy a house, looking for an investment property, need some help, look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, folks. She's a freaking dime star in my household. in the real estate world, she's a 5-star. I'm really out of whack tonight. Give her a call, Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. A lot of fours in that number, dadgummit, J-Head.
Hey, big dog, go ahead and put that in the J-Head drawer.
How can I keep doing that? I don't know.
Listen, man, you probably called me J-Head for the better part of three years. I think we've been doing podcasts together. It was an
easier transition for me. It's definitely harder for you.
Well, Jeffrey and I started doing pods together back when he was still with Rivals, right? I was coming up to Auburn and doing shows with you and Jay. So it's been a while that I've had that name with you.
$26. All right. Up to 26. Get that Christmas bonus working up, big dog.
Yeah,
Anyway, Jessica Andrews with the Talons Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you by, George. All right, let's get to the phone lines, Zach. Get me out of here.
Well, we already know who we're starting with. Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama. You're live.
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
Coming in with the thunder tonight. I hear you, Kevin.
What's on your mind tonight, Kevin?
Hey, my mom's doing really good now.
She almost recovered?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wanda been taking good care of her?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like she has. She's almost fully recovered.
Jeffrey Lee. Hey, Jeffrey Lee, I got some questions for you.
Okay. Shoot 'em, big dog.
Who do you think be the starting quarterback?
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, that's good guess. And I think Damari Austin be the starting running back.
I wouldn't argue that.
I do too, Kevin.
Right now, he would
And
be.
all the wide receivers we got.
The receivers are going to be fun now.
They got some receivers.
Tim Coleman, Eric Singletary.
Eric Singleton, yes. That's Eric Singleton, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, Horatio Fields is coming in.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, how about our basketball team?
Looking good, man. Looking really good right now.
Janai Broom got my vote, MVP.
You going to vote for Janai?
Yeah, Janai Broom.
How close is it really between him and Flag? Is it real close? Does somebody have the edge?
I'd give the edge to Flag right now, but Janai's had a phenomenal year.
He has.
What's Duke rank? 2 or 3?
2. And they just beat North Carolina
Auburn
5 million.
Yeah, they did.
Hey, how's Island Head doing?
Well, I'm good, Kevin. I appreciate you asking, though, brother. And I'm really excited to hear about your mom. I've been thinking about her, man, and saying some prayers. So I'm glad to hear she's doing better as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. When July gets here.
What's happening in July, Kevin?
Big cat.
At my Fairview High School football field.
Okay.
We're having a celebration there.
Okay.
For what?
Me and Wanda.
Oh.
Y'all getting married?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Hey, congratulations, Kevin. That's awesome.
Big time.
Yeah.
Where is it going to be?
At the high school stadium there?
Fairview High School football field in Coleman, Alabama.
In Coleman?
Coleman.
That's where I played football at.
You played at Coleman?
No, I played at Fairview High School.
Fairview, but not in Coleman. Did he say Coleman?
Coleman County.
Yeah,
Coleman.
Coleman, Alabama, and Coleman County.
I thought Fairview was down south.
I don't know.
Fair Hope.
No, that's Mobile.
You're thinking of Fair Hope, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Fair Hope.
Fairview's where Rick Sharp played, right?
Wilmer's down in Mobile, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
But you're going up to Coleman County.
That's where he's originally from.
Yeah, to get married. Yeah.
Ooh. He's throwing a curveball at me, big dog.
Jeffrey,
He did.
y'all are invited.
Well, I would hope so, Kevin.
Absolutely.
I'm honored, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah. My favorite person on this call-in show is you, Jeffrey Lee.
Oh man, I see that check cashed.
Ain't no check on it.
Well, all right, Kevin, we're going to put you down for July.
Yeah, I got another question.
All right, what you got?
Who be the defense player of the year?
I love that question. I think that's a fantastic question, Kevin. We're going to answer it right here. Hey, thanks for calling in, Big Dog. Appreciate you, Kevin. Hope we'll hear back from you.
Bye.
Next, War Eagle, Big Dog. Defensive MVP, a fantastic question. Defensive MVP at the end of the year, fellas. Who's your top 3 candidates?
On Auburn's roster, or are we talking about all of college football?
No. Auburn's team,
Auburn
defense MVP at the end of the year.
I think you got to start and end with Keldrick Falk.
Absolutely.
I like DeMarcus Riddick.
Yes, I think he could make a quantum leap. If everything comes together for him, he's got the kind of athletic tools that just kind of jump off the page. But I think the mental part, it's not the physical aspect with him, right? It's that mental gap of being able to make that jump from see ball, hit ball to understanding concepts and where you're supposed to be and all the nuances of DJ's defense.
Right.
Would you put DeMarcus Riddick in there? Would you put Jay Crawford in there?
Jay Crawford was definitely. I'll give you a sneaky one. If he's healthy, if he stays healthy, I really liked what Champ Anthony was doing, man. I really liked what Champ Anthony was doing. He's that kind of guy that can make plays all over the field. I think he's in consideration. I don't know if he's top 3, but he came to mind. I'll put it that way.
It might be difficult for an outside guy like a corner to be the MVP. You're probably going to look at I would feel like the safety has more opportunity.
What about Rayon Strader?
That was going to be he was number 2 on my call. I was waiting.
Wow.
I really like his film.
I do
and also,
too.
I'm a small school guy, so I always
Sure
he can make the jump. But I mean, listen, man, his film's legit. He's got the size, has the ball skills, and across from Jay Crawford, man, I think he's going to get some opportunities early.
I agree.
Rayon Strader, awesome name.
Yes, fantastic name.
Yeah.
Cole,
Keldrick Falk, right? I mean, Keldrick Falk. Yes,
Yeah.
easy answer.
He's number 1.
Unless one of your pass rushers steps up, right?
Well,
I was thinking, who is it?
Keyron Crawford. You never know with him. He started to come on pretty strong. For some reason, linebackers aren't coming to mind here. It'd be too hard. I mean,
who's the transfer edge they just got?
Chris Murray.
Chris Murray. I think it's going to have to be Keyron Crawford if you're going to get.
Yeah.
Until I lay eyes on Murray in spring and see what kind of twitch he's got at this level of competition, what's his get off like? Because there's some really attractive parts of his game, and then there's some things that I think he needs to work on to be able to be the kind of impact player you would talk about in an MVP type situation. So there's some progression that needs to be made there. But with Keyron, I thought I saw some of that towards the end of the year. That relentlessness that you have to have, that ability to bend your body, to create havoc in the pocket. His initial get off is really, really good. He's got some good twitch off the line. So good change of direction. I think he could be a sneaky pick there. I like the Champ Anthony one, and I like it for this reason. I think there's an opportunity for Champ to slide to the back end and play that field safety spot.
Yeah.
He's got the kind of physicality to me and the mental part of the game. You're talking about a kid that's very bright, already a leader on this roster and somebody that's part of the culture council. I think he's somebody, and you're looking for somebody to pair on that back end. You need another set of veteran. I mean, you've got some really good young kids in that room, but you need a veteran to pair with the young safety that you added to Thompson this past year. And forgive me for not saying his name. Cole, he's one of your favorites. Yes. No, not Fegans.
Thompson?
Yeah.
Caleb Harris.
Yes, Caleb Harris.
Hey,
I think Fegans will be the guy by the end of the year, but you need somebody in the front end. Yeah.
Both of those guys would be on my to-watch list. Both of those guys.
Yeah, Caleb Harris for sure. I mean, you're talking about a guy that well outplayed his ranking and started predominantly the majority of the season, right?
He's a baller, man.
Yeah.
Big time baller.
All right, good stuff, Kevin. Hey, before we get to the next call, Cole has our question of the week. Personal question of the week. The POW, the Q is silent. You can articulate this better than me, Cole. Talk to us about.
I think
your
I
question.
can. It was really popular on the corner, so I figured we'd bring it here. But I'm a Mexican connoisseur. You know, when it comes to Mexican food, to me, the most important. What is the most important thing you need at a Mexican restaurant for it to be like your place? Because there's a lot of Mexican restaurants, especially where I'm from, but there's always that one place that's your place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What makes it your place?
To me, what makes it your place, my place, chips and salsa out the gate. That's number. If that doesn't line up, if that's not good, then I know. And you said it, Alan. The rest of the meal's probably not going to be top notch.
No, it's not going to be on point, is it?
Yeah, chips and salsa is that's how you start the game, right? That's how you set the tone.
It's a tone setter.
It is a tone setter. I'll give you one more because this is a staple. And every time I go to a Mexican restaurant, I have to have a little queso or cheese dip, as some would refer to it as. Right.
That's another question, by the way. That's a heated debate whether you call it queso or cheese dip. I definitely call it cheese dip. Not that I care either way, but I call it cheese dip.
That's okay. I think it depends on what part of South Alabama you're from. It's whether you say cheese dip or queso, right? So. That's another one for me. Like if the cheese if it doesn't taste good,
it can't be yellow.
No.
Worse is the watery queso.
Yeah.
Zach, yes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Chips and okay. What is the most important factor when going to a Mexican restaurant? I mean, for me, I'm with you. I have actually two, like chips and salsa. If you don't make good salsa. Because I'm going to put salsa on everything else.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if you don't have good salsa, I'm out. I also like a good spicy margarita.
Oh.
And so that could help alleviate some of the lack of salsa making.
Yeah.
Also, great service. If I'm getting shoddy service, the food's not going to be as good.
Nope.
So anyway, but chips and salsa for me, big dog. Got to have the good salsa, and don't give me them wimpy chips.
Yeah. You want a little bit of bite to the chip, right?
Just a little bit. Now, some be bringing like a big old Dorito that's been in the oven for about 25 minutes, and it's like,
I need the light chips. Yeah, you know what I mean. The light chips, good queso, and you're not wrong on that fishbowl spicy margarita, my man.
I like it.
We got a lot. It wasn't just chips. I mean, people were saying, look, I mean, if you can't get a taco right, then you're not getting anything else right. There was a lot of, and what's funny is if you're from a small town, you have a Mexican place.
Oh, dude.
So I want to know that too. What's the name?
Here's the thing for me. If I'm in there and I'm loving the chips and salsa, the cheese dip, the jalapenos in there, and then I get a decent meal, even if the chips and salsa is not good and my food's still good, I'm not coming back as easily as I would have if it was chips and salsa. Yeah, give me some good chips and salsa. I can deal with an average quesadilla.
I can too. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog.
I believe this is Anthony. Anthony, you're live.
He'll have a good answer.
Yeah.
Where has he been?
Fellas.
How about you, big dog?
What's up? I don't know tonight.
Fairly well.
Yes, sir.
We're good, man. We've been missing you. Where you been hiding out at, Anthony?
Been in the background, man. Just peeping everything out.
I hear you.
Ball, man. I said I was gonna. They got to show me something this year. I can't do too much talk.
I hear you.
Like the G and lasagna.
That's fair.
Question of the night, man. Mine will probably be a little different. Mine is it has to be authentic.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
Ooh.
A Mexican restaurant to the point where I got to go in there and point at the menu.
The menu's not even in English, big dog.
Okay. No.
Wow.
Yeah, if they got ground beef on the menu, then I'm walking out. I need that. They got chorizo or carne asada. Yeah, I need that.
Okay.
Anthony, do you have a favorite place in the 334 that you can send me to?
Yeah, I need to know.
So the place that I had. So do y'all know it used to be this Mexican restaurant, and I'm not sure last time y'all been to Montgomery. So it's this place called Vicky's Band. Have y'all heard of that? They got great hamburgers, by the way. Y'all
Yeah.
ever down to stop in and get
That's one of the best hamburgers I've ever had.
that building? You said that's the best hamburger you ever had?
Yeah, I know the place in that building.
Yeah, that hamburger is amazing. But it used to, before she got there, it was a Mexican restaurant that was there, and you know, some of the best tacos. It's a place here in Tuscaloosa, but like I said, it's so authentic I can't even pronounce it.
Anthony, I'm gonna give you one to try in Montgomery. Go to El Rey's. That you're gonna like it. It's closer to that authentic style.
Okay, check it out.
All right.
It's over by Huntington.
Right, man. With Auburn bringing in all these weapons, and then we got 2 bookend tackles, so we got options. Do you think we're in a position where 10 personnel will be our base offense with all those weapons to get everybody on the field?
Maybe 11. I think 11 is probably going to be your base if I had to guess, but 10 will be featured significantly more than it has been.
Explain to the folks what that means.
So the first number that we're talking about here indicates the number of tight ends that you're going to have on the field.
Right.
Okay. And everybody can assume what the other number means, I would think, right?
Backs.
Running backs.
Correct.
So if he says 10 personnel, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, you've got 1 tight end, 2, whatever. That's tight end / running back.
Right. So if we're talking 11 personnel, we're talking
the other way around.
Oh, you're right. It's running back. So if we're talking 11, we're talking 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. If we're talking 10, we're talking 1 running back, 0 tight ends, 4 wide receivers.
That's why I thought when you said 10 personnel, you're having 0 tight ends, and you're spreading it wide.
0 tight ends, 1 back,
and you're getting to 5. So whatever that number minus 5 is how many wide receivers you're going to have.
Correct.
Yeah, I've talked to like 3 tight ends, Anthony, recruits. Caden Prothrow, Evan Jacobson. There's another one that we talked
to.
Yeah, Xavier Tiller, and they all 3 very adamant about they're telling me they're going to use multiple tight ends, and which is what they've been doing. And I keep hearing that from the recruits. So I know that's what the message is from the offensive staff. And it's like, I had the same thought last year. Like, how do you have all these receivers and you're going to go multiple tight end sets? At some point, there's going to be a transition there, I feel like.
Well, it kind of has to be, right? Otherwise, your wide receiver recruiting is going to be impacted some.
Yeah.
But I do believe they're going to play some.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
So I know we ran a lot of 12 and 13 last year. So do you think it was more of the offensive skill or having that extra blocking because they didn't have faith in the tackles?
I think, Anthony, it has to do with the RPOs. I think they could determine the box a little bit better with 12 personnel.
Yeah.
When you got 2 tight ends in the formation, they know that the box is typically going to be heavier. That makes your bubbles and your screens and your slants maybe a little more open to throw, more easy access to those throws. I really think they were trying to set that up a lot. And then, they hardly ever ran into a heavy box. They started doing that more later in the year. So what they did against Kentucky, it worked. So I think that was a big emphasis. Like, hey, we're getting in 12 personnel. I know y'all are going to load the box. We got our RPOs to throw. Right.
Sure. And then Rivaldo was so versatile that you could truly use him. He's what I would call a big F, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even an H at times, but you could put him in the slot and do some different things there when you widen things out. But with 12 personnel, they do like wide zone some, and it helps broaden the surface there and makes you have to account for a gap or creates a gap when you do that. So there's some advantages to 12, and they do utilize it. I think they'll get in it, but it just won't be as predominantly featured, in my opinion. I think you have too many explosive weapons to let that be your base formation this year.
So are you thinking 11?
I'm thinking 11.
I agree with you. 11. 1 back, 1 tight end.
Me too.
3 receivers.
And I don't think you have a tight end like Rivaldo this year that you can bank on.
I'm interested to see Preston Howard. He's a pretty good athlete. Whoever that was that said that, they are correct. I think it was phone.
It was phone.
Anyway, Preston Howard.
No, I'm sorry. It was Jay Lee's Pinkhead.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're right, and phone confirmed it too. But Anthony, I'm interested to see what Preston Howard is. I think he's an interesting piece. He's actually pretty athletic. Played
Preston Howard, absolutely.
Yeah. I just don't know what you have there, right? I know what you have in Malcolm, and I know what you have in Singleton.
Quick,
and I know what you have in
quick
Cam.
question. One minute, then I'm gonna get off. So with Preston Howard, when they're got them split out, would you guys rather have Preston Howard out there, or would you guys rather have Horatio Field or Harry Thompson? That's my last question. I ain't gonna hold them up the line.
Whew. All right. Hey, Anthony, appreciate you calling in, Big Dog. We're always welcome here.
That's a great question.
Perry Thompson, Horatio Fields, or Preston Howard?
What are we running? Like, what's the call?
It's 3rd and 6.
Give me Preston Howard.
Say it's a passing down, right?
I still want Preston Howard because
Do you want him as your tight end and 3 wide receivers?
No. Well, hold on. Let me think. And it really depends on how my tackles are holding up. Do I need to chip? So there's some consideration there.
Damari was a better pass blocker than
he's a good
Jarquez.
He is. Even though Jarquez got better, I think towards the end of the year.
I think your guy is going to be Darrell Robinson when it comes to pass blocking.
Okay.
He can do it.
Okay.
But I like the idea of a guy like Fields out there because the idea for the big slot is to get a size mismatch, and I think Fields is big enough to get it. I think he's big enough to get it, and I think he's fast enough to beat a backer. So I like that idea. But his 50-50 ball, ability is good. And I don't know how – I will say this. Preston Howard, I saw it on PFF, and I wrote it in his article. I think he had 14 contested catch attempts, and he caught 88% of them.
Yeah.
I need to look that up. But it's somewhere in that ballpark, and that's good. I mean, so that's interesting, right?
It is. And Maryland threw the ball a pretty good bit last year. Billy Edwards had a pretty big year. I think he ended up transferring to Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was another
from
Big Ten
Maryland?
team.
Preston Howard.
Horatio's
for Wake Forest. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In a 3rd and 6, still give me Preston Howard because I like the opportunity, the mismatch he creates, running the seam there. And I think he also gives you some physicality if you choose to run into a light box. So give me the tight end in that situation just because of the various ways you can use him. And I think Horatio's fantastic on the outside, stalk block or something of that nature, getting in a corner's way. But if I got to have a crack on a linebacker or I'm going to be shielding a safety, give me the tight end by comparison to a receiver that's used to predominantly being on the outside.
Good stuff, Anthony. Appreciate you calling, Big Dog.
0553. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's the Auburn Live on 3 Dadgummit crew?
Hey, now.
What's up?
Who we talking to, Dadgummit?
It's Cole from Noonan. How you guys doing?
Well, look at you, Big Dog.
Tank for America in the house. I hear you.
Look at you, Tank.
Man, it's been a minute, but I appreciate the work you guys do. It's good to talk to you.
Welcome back.
And I want to start by congratulating Kevin from Wilmer.
Yeah.
There is nothing better in life than being married to a good woman. And I also want to congratulate Sir Jeffrey Lee for the audacity to correct Mr. Kevin when he said Eric Singletary.
You're right.
People called him Eric Singletary at some point this season. So
You're right.
But I want to say a couple things. First, on the basketball front, football season, I'm used to 2 or 3 weeks out hating that so-called school that resides in Tuscaloosa.
Sure.
Shelton State, yeah.
This Alabama basketball game, and I'm already waking up every day thinking about how much I hate those mother effers in Tuscaloosa.
Easy, Alan.
Full Alan head and use full words. Right?
Yes, buddy.
but I hate those guys, and I want to see us beat the brakes off those jokers.
That's in 2 weeks, February 15th.
I'm excited for spring ball. I know we're starting that off a little bit later this year. And so just thinking about some of the things that has me excited, and I want to refute a few things you guys said early on.
Okay.
When it comes to defensive MVP, it is a very clear Keldrick Falk #1.
Yeah.
Very clear DeMarcus Riddick #2.
Okay.
I like it.
And then on the Perry Thompson, Horatio Fields, Preston Howard question, it's Perry Thompson all day long.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing, Tank. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I think you got to get to the big guy who's
Hold
got
on.
the catch radius and who can take it to the house.
Only because of projection for me.
Sure. No, I hear you. If he plays up to the accolades, right? But I didn't see that from Perry last year. I didn't.
When y'all were talking, the first thing I did when I heard Perry Thompson, I was like, nope, who's the other two? Right. Then I got to thinking. So I'm not going to argue with you, is basically what I'm going with.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cole.
So it comes down to, can he play up to what his ability is?
Right.
But his ability says he can have the catch radius and take it to the house every time. And I think that's what you got to, hope for. So, but looking at spring, guys, I'm excited because I don't think I remember a spring where we had so few guys sharpied into their depth chart spots. You can pretty closely count on Jackson Arnold at QB1. Keldrick's going to be at, DE1. Cam's your wide receiver 1. But running back, you got competition. O-line, Chaplin's going to start. Conalou's going to start. Wade's going to start. But there's battles for who's your best 5. D-line rotations, open question mark, LB. You got so much competition throughout the depth chart, and that has me excited. So that's number 1.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Number 2, I don't remember a spring where you had – you're always excited to see the freshmen.
Yeah.
But particularly on the defensive side of the ball, you have guys that are going to be competing for spots in the 2 deep. This spring is huge for – we don't talk about it as much, but Antonio Coleman, Malik Autry, those guys will be competing for serious playing time. At the back end, you got Fagans, you got Winters. Y'all, I think Elijah Melendez is going to be the story of spring.
Ooh.
I think that's your starting middle linebacker week 1. Then I think because of, you're always excited to see the quarterback, but because of the situation we have at quarterback this spring, Deuce Knight has the ability to get a lot of reps. And I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about him coming out of spring ball. And that's going to be fun. So some closing thoughts. I think the big stories out of spring will be the O-line battles and a lot of excitement about that. The things people will be concerned about will be the defensive line, interior defensive line, the battles there.
Yep.
I think, again, linebacker Elijah Melendez is going to be really fun to track. And then watching those DBs compete and rotate, because you're going to have to find your best grouping. Who needs to be at nickel, who needs to be at corner, who needs to be at safety to get your most talent on the field at defense. And then I think Perry Thompson's the guy to watch for a breakout spring. And so my open question, you guys, is who are your 3 guys that you're watching this spring to see how they make a move? Who does this spring matter the most to is my question to you guys. And then I'll close with this on the personal question of the week.
Thank you.
It comes down to 1, quality of queso dip needs the holiday.
Yes.
2, you got to get them thick chips. None of these papery, crumbly, crappy chips that can't hold the queso.
I like the
and
thin
then
ones.
3, Coke at Mexican restaurant is always way better.
See,
underrated take, because you're right. I agree.
I think sweet tea is. I think that's
another big one for me.
Yeah.
How good is your sweet tea?
They always do it really well.
And if they bring your Coke to you in a bottle, Mexican Coke, game changer, son.
Oh, yes. What's your place in Noonan, man?
So actually, I grew up. I moved around a lot, but I grew up kind of close to where you're from. Mexico Típico was my favorite growing up in
Prattville, yeah.
But El Ranchero out in Peachtree City, which is right by Noonan,
is
probably my favorite.
Okay.
Out here. So it's got a really good jalapeno queso.
Ooh. Do they mix in, like, dice it up and put it in there, or do they put it on the side?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
no,
about,
it's
son.
gotta be
Mexico
mixed in.
Typico does
That's
that.
chunky stuff.
Crap.
Right.
You got these little green dots in there.
Hey, Cole, I got one more question for you, man. I'm with your opening take. I'm curious what your answer to BBP's question was last week. 6 wins for Auburn with a win against Bama, or 8 wins for Auburn with losses against Georgia and Bama at home?
That's so hard, man.
No, it's
I
not.
think it's about
For
program.
me, it's 8, right?
You got to get the 8 wins. Like I think the 6 wins, right? I mean, as much as I hate Bama, and I live in Georgia, and I hate Georgia almost as much because, these grown men barking at you, and, Georgia fans are absolutely ridiculous people. It's about program trajectory, and getting 8 is a big deal.
Big deal.
And if you beat Georgia and Bama, you've lost to some teams that you shouldn't have.
True.
Yeah. I'm with 8. I considered the 6. I'm with 8. My buddy made a good point to me, though. He said, Auburn's not firing a coach that beats Bama.
No, they're not. And I tell you what, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Georgia win's a bigger deal than the Bama win right now. And I'll tell you why. Have you looked at the win streak that Georgia has going right now?
No.
I know they're owning Auburn.
It's almost 10 years straight.
The last win was,
I think
2017, right?
I think it's about placement in the schedule too. Like, you get a win against Georgia, it's earlier, you've got momentum. We're not firing a coach that has recruiting momentum. If you're 5-6 going into Bama and you get a late win, I don't think Bama's going to be that good. I don't think the win will mean as much. Bama might be, 7 wins, 8 wins at that point in time. But winning against Georgia early gets you some momentum, locks down your class.
It does. And that was also my thought there. It's how long it's been, because you're right. It's 2017 at home. Gus talking about he beat the dog crap out of them.
Yeah.
So you're at 8 years right now. 8 years running straight.
Wow.
And that's as long as a streak as I can remember in losing consecutive games to Georgia. Especially if you also account for that SEC championship loss that we had there. So now you're at 8 straight losses, but it's 7 straight seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
8 in a row. Yikes. All right, so remind us again, Cole, what are we talking about? Something about the spring?
The 3 most important, I guess. Go ahead, Cole.
Who is this spring the biggest for? Which 3 guys does this spring matter the most for? And I do think freshmen can be in the mix. Normally they wouldn't be, but because you got some guys that I think really are competing. Who does this spring matter the most for? 3 guys, 5 guys. If you want to just pick one, that's totally fine too.
I got my 3 right now.
Guys.
All right, thanks, Cole. Appreciate you calling in, big dog. I think number 1 is easy, Jackson Arnold.
Oh, you took it a different direction than I was going, but I like that pick. That's a big one. That's a big one. He was number 3 for me, but go ahead.
Okay. Who else you got?
Kieron Crawford, because I think if this defense is going to take a step, you have to have an impact edge rusher.
Okay. I
And
like
then
that.
Robert Woodyard.
Really?
Nice. Yeah, he's important.
If there was ever a time for him to cement himself in that rotation and to be the starter at Mike linebacker, this is the spring to do it. Because if he doesn't do it this spring, you are looking in the transfer portal and recruiting over him, period.
Where's DeMarcus Riddick going to play?
The will.
Will. Yeah.
So Robert would be the Mike if he can hang on. Now, he's competing against a true freshman, right? Well, and a redshirt freshman in D'Angelo Barber.
This is a tough question, man. I got a lot of names floating around my head right now. My mind's going to D-line. But I trust Bobby Travis. I trust Malik Blockton.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dallas Walker comes to mind. I feel like if he's good, because we said this last year, if Jason Jones like really came on strong, and he played better. I don't know if he really came on strong, but he played better. How much better would Auburn's defensive line be? Like, that's a huge piece. And I feel like that piece this year is Dallas Walker, because I would give the nod to Bobby Travis as the starting nose right now. And we all believe that Jordan Crawford's going to play. But Dallas Walker can really take the floor of the defensive line up a big time. He's my guy on defense. He's the only one I'm coming up with on defense right now. On offense, Perry Thompson's kind of obvious.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Jeremiah Cobb.
Oh,
yeah.
I think this is a huge year for him. He hasn't really gotten passed over. I wouldn't say that.
No.
He's been working his way up the depth chart. He had Jarquez Hunter in front of him. This is the year where he could become the guy. I know it's no slight against Damari Austin, but Cobb is explosive. He's very explosive, and he's got something that I think the rest of the room doesn't have. And we'll see. I think this is a huge spring.
I like that one.
Jeffrey, I think you nailed it, though, because if Jackson Arnold is everything that he was billed to be out of high school, that gives you some serious juice. If you preview him at an A-Day and tease it in front of recruits the right way, and you'll have the whole media circus behind him, and it just gives you so much more confidence of how you build that team going into the fall. So, I mean, elite quarterback play takes this team from where we think – I think we all feel comfortable saying Auburn is capable of 7 wins next year, right?
Yes, capable absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
If Jackson Arnold's what he was supposed to be out of high school, that's a 2-game jump.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a great quarterback is worth 2 wins.
Did any offensive linemen come to mind?
Okay, and I think Cole brought this up. You're looking at Xavier Chaplin.
Yes.
You're looking at Connor Lew.
Yes.
You're looking at who's the other one?
Dylan Wade, Jeremiah Wright.
Okay, Dylan Wade. Okay, now you've got 2. You got Jeremiah Wright and you got Too Tall, right?
Yep.
You've got Mason Murphy.
Braden Joyner is a returning starter. He started several games.
Technically, you are correct. Hey, listen, I love Braden Joyner. I'm just saying I love Braden Joyner, but I thought Cole made a good point, man. The having people, legitimate players to compete for those 2 other spots that we think are not cemented. Because I'm pretty sure if Xavier Chaplin's not starting at left tackle, something's wrong.
Yes, something went bad wrong, right?
Right. Yeah. If Dylan Wade is not in your starting 5, something is wrong. Connor Lew, something's wrong. Jeremiah Wright and your right guard?
Yes.
Yeah.
And your right tackle, the right side of your line, with Dylan Wade being your left guard.
Yeah, Dylan's your left.
We talked about potentially him playing tackle again because he was good at tackle, but I feel very strongly he's going to play guard after talking to some folks.
Well, Freeze's comments down at the Senior Bowl, I saw those where he had talked about how Dylan has put on some weight and looks more like a guard, and that was some of his issue. We talked about how he looked uncomfortable at guard some last year because of it's just so different playing inside with defensive tackles that are your size, if not bigger, because he was only weighing in at about 304 last year.
Yeah.
Still had kind of a tackle type body that he was lighter, right?
Yeah,
I mean, not from a length standpoint.
His athleticism lends towards playing tackle. His
Yes.
body is more geared towards playing guard.
Yes.
With a little extra weight, he can get where he needs to be to play guard in the SEC. I agree with you.
I agree. It helps him anchor, and when he plays with leverage in the run game, he's going to be that much better, right? And then in his pass set, it felt like sometimes when he would get bull rushed that he just wasn't prepared for the. I mean, that playing on the interior is man's game in the SEC. Yeah. I mean, it is legitimately a man's game.
I thought you had the best pick on defense, Alan. Robert Woodyard.
That was that I didn't even cross my mind.
But when you start thinking about the backers, I mean, you kind of come up short, like especially with experience. But it's like, who do you trust? That's the question.
He disappeared after the first half of the season, didn't he?
He did
a little bit,
and that's why it's so pivotal for him. Because to me, if he doesn't show, and you don't see all right, so now you've got Elijah Melendez and D'Angelo Barber, and D'Angelo Barber didn't play a lick last year.
I don't even think he put a jersey on.
So you really don't know what you have there. And to me, if he doesn't show up, then you're recruiting an inside linebacker, the best one you can get. And does Rob make it another year, or does he decide to go play elsewhere? And that's why I believe it is so pivotal for him.
Yeah, he's important. By the way, I know we got to get the next caller. I pulled up Preston Howard. I mean, if you're thinking about guys that could, really better themselves this spring, he comes to mind. 8 out of 11 contested catches he caught at Maryland, and he caught 24 of his 28 targets. So I thought those were good numbers.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Cole. Appreciate you calling in, big dog. Keep us going, Zach.
8021. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey man, this is L Train from Birmingham, man.
Hey.
Hello, Train.
Choo-choo.
What up? What up?
What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
All right, my POW is I'm with y'all on the chips and salsa, man.
I like it.
They gotta have that.
There we go.
I can get past other things. I can't get
Y'all
past.
already know. Y'all don't kill my thunder, man. Y'all already answered my question for tonight, though, man. But I'm gonna ask them anyway. I'm gonna ask them anyway and tell y'all what I think
All right.
Okay.
about Jackson Arnold, man. I got 2 questions for y'all. Y'all already answered both of them already. I'm gonna answer them anyway. But my first question is, do y'all think Jackson Arnold can have a Cam Newton type season for Auburn, man, and end up in New York in December? And I believe he can. My opinion, I believe he can have a Cam Newton type season. He might not have many rushing touchdowns as Cam Newton, but I believe he can have a season like Cam Newton. I really believe that. And I hope he do. And I hope Deuce Knight win the backup role.
Yeah.
I hope Deuce Knight win backup role, because I believe Auburn can have 2 Heisman Trophy winners at quarterback in the next 4 years. I believe both of them boys can be in New York before they leave Auburn. I believe that. And then in my second question, I want y'all's opinion on that. And my second question is Jeremiah Cobb and Damari Austin. And I'd be disappointed if Jeremiah Cobb don't win that job, man. I think Jeremiah Cobb is just like Jaquiez Hunter, man. He just more explosive. He just ain't strong as Cobb, but I believe he the best running back on that team, man. And I believe if Jeremiah put his head down and put the work in this spring, I believe he should win that job, man. No worry about no seniority. The best running back should win that job. And I believe that Jeremiah Cobb, the man can go 90 yards on any play if he get his hand on that ball, man. You just got to give him a chance and get in there and earn that job, man. I really believe he can be the best running back on Auburn roster this year. And I just want y'all opinion on both of those.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's all I got tonight.
L Train, appreciate you calling in, big dog. Really do. All right, let's see.
I love y'all so.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. But Jackson Arnold, what's his ceiling, fellas? First year at Auburn after 2 rather mediocre seasons at Oklahoma. What is his ceiling this year at Auburn? Is his ceiling New York? Is that possible?
I can't go as far. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't, but I can't go as far to say he can have the same impact that Cam Newton had. I think that's a little – I can't go that far.
You're not ready to say he's a generational player.
No, I'm not there. I mean, I'm not ruling it out by any means, but I have to see him more. I got to see – when you watch his Oklahoma tape, man, it's just – it's really annoying because they just didn't open it up for him at all. And part of me questions why they did that.
Right.
But also their offensive coordinator got fired.
Yes, he did.
And they didn't have all the receivers. I mean, hardly any.
Right.
So
imagine Auburn losing their top 5 or 6 wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean, look, you almost give the offensive coordinator the benefit of the doubt. Like, dude, you didn't have anything. And your offensive line was not very good. So
no.
And honestly, whoever made the call to put Hawkins in against Auburn made the right call. They won the game.
They did.
I hate to do that to Jackson, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that as a bad thing to Jackson Arnold. It was just a good move for that game. You question that. you question why that was. It's an interesting dynamic with Jackson Arnold that I gotta get over that first to be able to project him as high as New York. I could see him having a year like Jarrett Stidham did at Auburn.
Okay, I think that's more realistic.
Maybe Bo Nix, his freshman year, had a good year. Auburn won 9 games, I think, that year.
Yeah,
I could see that.
In order for him to get to New York, Auburn would have to win at least 10 games. Don't you agree?
Yeah. They got to be in the playoff conversation.
9 is the minimum, right? Because that was the threshold that was set by, I think, Robert Griffin III. And Baylor was with 9. Who's the kid from Louisville?
Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar. It was 9.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep. Well, there was Teddy Bridgewater, but he wasn't a Heisman. But those two both were Heisman candidates and winners.
Teddy got robbed.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I think there's a distinction between his ceiling as New York and his ceiling as Cam Newton. Like, there's a Heisman season and a Cam Newton season.
Zach, I was trying to soften that blow, big dog.
No,
I agree with that.
Because I don't, honestly, L-Train, I don't think anybody here would ever even consider Jackson Arnold a Cam Newton. Cam Newton, before he was Cam Newton of Auburn, dude, he was Cam Newton at Blinn.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was Cam Newton at College Park or wherever he went.
I don't care how good you are. I'm not making that comparison.
No.
Look, there's only one Cam Newton. Edwards said it, okay, and it's true. There's nobody, in my opinion, and look, there have been phenomenal, and Lamar Jackson is one of them, right? One of the most phenomenal seasons I have ever seen a college player have. Cam Newton was flat out dominant.
So the next best, I'm trying to bring it down to, okay, so what about, let's take away the Cam Newton stuff. Can he get to New York? And that's where I'm going. Well, we talked about Jackson Arnold Spring, him being good for 2 games if he's remotely close to what we think he can be. So now you're looking at 9-3 regular season, which gets him to the floor of a Heisman trip. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I would say there's a 95% chance Jackson Arnold does not get invited to New York.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't have I'm not having visions of grandeur here.
I'm going to read you some stats, and then I'm going to give you a player comp of this is who I compare Jackson Arnold to.
Okay.
3,337 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
Okay.
That is Matt Corral's stat line at Ole Miss when Lane Kiffin came through the door. My player comp for Jackson Arnold is Matt Corral. I think they are very, very similar from a body type, from a live arm. A lot of it's there. And Matt had some early struggles in his career where he got benched.
Yeah, he did. He was ridiculously good, though.
Yes, he was, especially in the RPO, right? Yeah. That was where he was featured. And, of course, Lane Kiffin's one of the most gifted play callers and has the best whistle in all of college football. Let's be honest.
A lot of interceptions, man. That's
it is. But
2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio.
It is. And he got a little reckless with the ball. I think he had a 6 interception game that season. You would like to see Jackson not do that. But I think when you open it up with a quarterback sometimes and it's their first real time opening it up, you're going to have that.
Lane's going to put out a gunslinger. I mean, you're going to sling it.
Oh, he doesn't care as much about the interceptions if the touchdowns are – the ratio is important. Like, how much do the touchdowns outweigh the interceptions?
Right.
You could throw 20 if you threw 60 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Correct. So, a 2-to-1, that's not exactly what you want, but a first-year starter, and he's got that many yards and that many touchdowns, I think you'd probably take it as a developmental year, and I think that's really where he's at. Now, I don't think you're going to see – I think Jackson's going to throw more picks this year than probably Auburn fans would want, but I also think it's because Cole talked about it. They really shut it down for him at Oklahoma. When his target started getting injured, you just didn't see much imagination there or giving him even the option to really air it out. And I think because he's so limited and maybe some of what he's seen from a defensive standpoint, that he's going to make some turnovers, but I also think he's capable of making some exceptional throws and plays and winning some games. And that's where I'm on that 7-5, 8-4, because you're going to have some turnovers that are going to kill you, but I think he's also going to win some games. and make some really big time throws.
So, Alan, Zach, too, jump in. Jeffrey, this brings up a great question. I think that the style you're talking about with Corral and Lane Kiffin, it almost resembles Bruce Pearl's style with, taking threes. Like, hey,
Sure,
the more shots at goal, the better, right?
right.
We don't care about the percentage as much, which their percentage is good, obviously. But,
Sure.
some of the teams he's had didn't have great percentages, but ended up making a lot of threes because they took so many.
Sure.
This is the idea with what Lane Kiffin does, I would say.
Mhm.
Lincoln Riley, some of these gunslinger type offensive coordinators. And we were just talking about Jackson Arnold being handicapped big time handicapped at Oklahoma. Have you seen anything from Hugh Freeze at Auburn to believe he won't do that to Arnold, or he will start to open it up more? Where do you land on that exactly?
I think he's going to trust the kid. I do. I think he's got no choice at this point, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, Hugh needs to take a step forward, and his recruiting needs to be able to show that kind of progress on the field. And so I think he's going to have to open it up.
And to be fair, even though I felt like Peyton Thorne was more conservative, but the offense was pretty open, I thought. I mean, they took shots.
In year two? Absolutely.
They could have taken more, I felt like at times. But I wouldn't have called it exactly like ultra conservative, right? It was aggressive enough. But you could take another step with it, though, if that makes sense.
Peyton almost threw for 3,000 yards this year.
Yeah.
For those that weren't paying attention, and he was benched against New Mexico and a half against Arkansas.
Game and a half.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Put him back in for those games, and maybe he's 3,000 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. I thought they did open it up last year. Now, the first year they didn't. The first year it was.
No, it was, that was the right move, I thought, the first year.
You just didn't have the weapons, right?
No, we called it Service Academy offense to an extent. And that was the move. I mean, it was good. A lot of times it won you games that you may not have had the talent to win.
No, I mean, I'm with you wholeheartedly.
So, interesting dilemma there. I agree with you. I think he has no choice.
Turn it up. So I appreciate you calling, L Train. Appreciate you, big dog.
Last caller of the night, 2015. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Neil from Florida, Florida.
Say that again, big dog.
Hey, it's Neil from Florida, Florida.
Neil, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, congrats for the boy getting his first buck. That's a big day.
Thanks, buddy. It was a big day. Well deserved. He earned it.
And has any of you ever lived in Texas or eaten Mexican food there?
I have not lived in Texas. Driven through it for like 3 days one time.
I bet Anthony would love that.
Been to Texas a lot lately.
I worked the majority of my life there before coming back to Florida to retire. But if a place doesn't have the big flour, fluffy, homemade tortillas, I'm not messing with them.
Oh,
okay. All right.
Oh,
That's
Neil high maintenance.
Neil, what's your go-to Mexican restaurant? What's the name of it?
Around here, I've learned my lesson. I just don't eat it anymore.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, too many times. But I had a couple of basketball things, man, and then one football thing to follow up on.
Sure.
Hediford's the real deal. I knew he was a good ball handler and quick and had a good three-point shot, but I underestimated his athleticism. Seeing him windmill a dunk and then doing an alley-oop at 6 foot, 6'1", and he's amazing.
Pettiford, yeah.
And then, Pettiford, for sure. And then my question is, I think Ja'Kai Howard's our probably our most gifted athlete on the team, and I'm wondering why he's not playing more. I don't know if it had anything to do with the airplane incident. And then the other one is Pegues. Did we just misevaluate him because he hasn't seen much action either? And then I'll go ahead and ask my football question. and then you guys can answer. I was going to ask, who do you think is the most likely player that you don't want to transfer in the spring, but that will, but I don't want you to call out any names. So what position group do you think is going to lose the biggest impact player through the draft?
Okay.
Hey, Neil, those are two very good questions. We're going to get to them. Appreciate you calling, Neil.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'll have a good one.
All right, JP Begeese, is that a miss eval, Alan?
I don't think there's any other way to slice it on that
completely
one.
agree. Completely
Now,
agree.
I think the kid's talented, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked. It just hasn't.
No, and I don't. Neil, I think Ja'Kai Howard, just from what little I know, is I think there's a combination of some things. I think even Bruce has mentioned this publicly that maybe it was Ja'Kai, but he's got some growing up to do.
Yeah, it's some maturity things. I mean, you're right about the athleticism. I mean, the kid is he's unbelievably gifted, but there's more to this game than just being gifted athletically. There are a lot of guys that were blessed.
I mean, if it was all about athleticism, I'd be in the NBA. And Cole knows this firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Sure thing, Danny Ainge. But yeah, I mean, I think it's also deep at the position he's competing against too. I mean, you think about Miles Kelly, Chad, Denver Jones, all those guys are rotating through. Pettiford gets some rotation at the 2. Who, by the way, and he's correct on this, as far as an athlete is concerned, he is one of the more unique athletes I've ever seen lace him up at Auburn. He's got some Allen Iverson to his game. He really does. He's still developing as a point guard. It's very similar to AI, but just his ability to jump, run as a run jump athlete, and some of the things that he can do with the basketball and one-on-ones, isolation, and be able to create, it's unreal, man. I mean, he's super talented.
Danny Ainge.
You like how I snuck that one in, didn't you?
Blake Robinson said, I picture Jeffrey Moore as a John Stockton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll take it, John Stockton.
Especially with them short shorts on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I just sling that thing over my shoulder. All right, transfer positions. Any concerns at a football spring? What's the position that could take the biggest hit in the transfer portal? I mean, you're thinking of. I'm trying to think of candidates and what positions they play, and if there's more than one or two at each position. Is it the offensive line? Are you going to lose some young depth? Are you going to lose? Is linebacker so thin right now? If one of those young guys leaves. I mean, middle linebacker, you talking about Robert Woodyard, and even before we were talking about him, I was like, who the hell is the options at middle linebacker?
Right.
Like, who are they? Yeah.
You've got Melendez.
2 guys who's never played a college snap, and Robert Woodyard, who's played, the better half of a year.
Correct. I mean, it's scary thin to me, which I think is why a lot of people on our board who very educated fans as it pertains to recruiting and roster management, we're kind of like, why didn't we go get someone with more productivity?
Tried to.
They did, and it didn't work out.
Right. They missed on the middle linebacker. Was it? They got Atkins, who's going to play Will, right?
They did, and they tried to go get Jeremiah Alexander from Alabama, and he ended up signing with Clemson. They brought in the kid from Tennessee, but I think that was
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I think they could have had that one if they wanted it.
Yeah, they could have. I think they chose Xavier Atkins over him.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So, positions, any concerns? Or are you like,
I'm stuck on wide receiver.
Okay.
You think they can
thinking about losing depth?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a talented room. Somebody's going to feel left out in the spring. It's just going to happen. That's the nature of the beast that is competition. And
you're still down one in that position too. You're still going to add a guy in the spring.
That's not always the reason people transfer. Okay. But in this window, I think it is a big reason why.
It is absolutely. Well, that and who has been in the tamper portal, right?
Well, that's always that's a given, right?
Right. I mean, those conversations are being had right now. But I'm going to go other side of the ball similar to you, perimeter. I'm going to go defensive back. I think that's the spot you could lose somebody that you don't want to lose because of the kind of competition you've got out there.
Yeah. I was thinking DB.
But I think I think wide receiver and DB, those are the two spots.
Specifically corner is what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm also Jeremiah Cobb. What if he feels like he's being squeezed, right? What if he thinks that, that they bring the kid in from Charlotte, he's passed me, something like that.
Because the roster is where it's getting really close to where you want it. It is kind of unsettling to know there is another transfer portal window,
Yeah.
I'm sure coaches would love for there to be one portal window, right?
Yeah, they would love for there not to be a post.
Be done with it. Great day.
But again, as we just learned with that situation for the Wisconsin DB that just left and went to Miami, you don't even have to be in the transfer portal to transfer. You can just disenroll and re-enroll at the beginning of the new semester.
We say they don't. I mean, think about who they got in the post-spring window last year, though. Philip Bleedy was a nice addition. Isaiah Rakes, I thought, was a nice addition. Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Oh, for sure.
Keon
Crawford.
Yeah, Keion Crawford. Yeah.
Now, Auburn benefited from coaching change because Philip Bleedy was a casualty of I don't think he necessarily loved the new defensive line coach they brought into Indiana. Situation was a little shaky. He was looking for a better situation for him and his family. Auburn benefited big time on that one. So if you're looking at spots, look for places where there was some coaching change, and maybe there's a guy that shakes loose after spring that's going to be productive that Auburn can grab, because you need another Philip Bleedy to feel better about this roster. You need a 3 technique with some experience, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Fantastic. As always. It was a great show.
It was.
I liked it.
Callers. Really good callers.
Had a lot of good subjects to expound on. That's right. Is that right?
It is. Yeah.
There's a big jump from last show to this show where people are getting fired up about football again. And we got a long way to go, but I'm glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it. We had Kevin from Wilmer knocking it out of the park once again.
Yes.
About to be hitched come July. Kevin, congratulations, buddy. Real happy for you and Wanda. Y'all are fantastic for each other. Happy for both of y'all. Wish you many years of good fortune and success. Anthony from Montgomery coming out of the woodworks to bless us with his presence. Don't be so selfish with yourself, son.
He likes that fancy Mexican.
Oh, he is highbrow, isn't he? He is highbrow.
I liked it, though. I like it.
Cole from Noonan calling in with a fantastic segment. L Train coming in strong. He's ready to see the next Cam Newton. And then Neil closing it off with some good basketball and football questions. Fantastic stuff tonight. Fantastic subjects, fantastic topics. Conversation for us to opine on. We appreciate everybody. One more time, don't forget, if you're in or around Auburn, Opelika County, need some real estate help, look for no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. Since we didn't do it the first time, we're going to do it this time. There's a lot of 4s in that number, A-head, but she's a freaking 5-star Willitzer. And if you don't believe me, just ask Alan. He'll show you how many fingers he's got. All right, give her a call, folks. Tell her we sent you, man. That's going to do it. Look for us, recruiting show Wednesday morning, and get on the corner and ask some questions if you want to. Tuesday evening, we'll talk about what you want to talk about on Wednesday's show. Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Cole Pinkston, for Alan Head, for Zach in the back, who stayed in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay in that left lane. See ya.